Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for this special episode of Braj Nights. We are trying to prepare our consciousness to enter the holy dham of Vrindavan. In the series of Acharyas of Vrindavan, this is part 3, and today we shall be discussing about a very special Acharya of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, that is Srila Rupa Goswami. Before we begin, let us offer a few prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Rupa Goswami, he is called the Rasacharya, the Acharya who himself relished all the mellows of devotional service to Sri Krishna and also distributed those mellows of devotional service to one and all through his immensely wonderful literature. Yes, Rupa Goswami is the stalwart Acharya in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Rupa Goswami is also called the Abhideya Acharya. Yesterday, we discussed about Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami is called Sambandha Acharya, as I told yesterday. Sambandha means our relationship with the Supreme Lord. So Sanatana Goswami explains to us how we can remove our mind from negativities of this material world, especially from lusty desires, and focus our mind on Sri Krishna or Radha Madan Mohan. And Rupa Goswami is called Abhideya Acharya. Abhideya means the process to achieve perfection in spiritual life. Rupa Goswami, through his books and his personal behavior, explained to us how to practice devotional service to Sri Krishna, which actually helps us to become firmly established in our position as servants of Sri Krishna. For this reason, Rupa Goswami is called Abhideya Acharya. The Vedic scriptures talk about 3 kinds of knowledge: Sambandha Jnana, Abhideya Jnana, and Prayojana Jnana. Sambandha means our relationship with Krishna. Abhideya means the process, that is devotional service that we must execute in order to become established in that relationship with Krishna. And Prayojana means the ultimate goal of devotional service. So these 3 principles are very nicely explained by the great Acharyas of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Srila Rupa Goswami, as I said, through his books has established the Abhideya, the process of devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami, as I mentioned yesterday, appeared as the younger brother of Srila Sanatana Goswami, and he was from a very aristocratic family. He was holding a very responsible post in Nawab's government in Bengal. Being influenced by the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being inspired by his Sankirtana movement, Rupa Goswami decided to give up his ministerial position and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. When Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami met for the first time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Ramakeli village, they received spiritual inspiration and empowerment from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically instructed Rupa Goswami to perform 2 important tasks. Number 1, to excavate the pastime places of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, and number 2, to actually write bhakti literatures to propagate the science of devotional service. Following these orders, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami executed these activities wonderfully. In one of the prayers to Rupa Goswami, it says, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Which means, when will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who established the mission in this material world to fulfill the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, give shelter at his own lotus feet? Yes, from this prayer we understand that Rupa Goswami actually understood the Manobhishtam, the inner desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and acted according to his desires. It was Srila Rupa Goswami who actually gave a very crystal clear definition of bhakti in his famous book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There Rupa Goswami says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhya anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. Let us try to understand the meaning of this very interesting definition. For the first time in the history of Krishna conscious literatures, we find a very crystal clear definition of bhakti. Generally people think that bhakti is something to do with emotions, something that should be practiced within one's mind. But actually it is not so. Srila Rupa Goswami says, what is the meaning of Uttama Bhakti, the best form of devotional service? He says, Anyabhilashita shunyam. Anya abhilashita, all other desires, shunyam. One must actually be ready to give up all other kinds of material desires which do not help one to become intimately associated with Krishna. So the first thing is anyabhilashita shunyam, and then jnana karmadi anavritam. Avritam means covering, anavritam means not being covered. Devotional service is best when it is not covered by jnana and karma contaminations. What are these two things? Karma contamination means to have this fruitive mentality. Generally, when we practice any devotional activity, we have some intentions in mind. Oh, if I do this chanting Hare Krishna mantra, then I will get this benefit, then I will get that benefit. We always think of what's there for me in it. This is called fruitive mentality or karma contamination. Rupa Goswami said, the best form of devotional service is that which is devoid of this fruitive mentality. Another thing is jnana contamination or speculative imagination. One should not speculate about the instructions given in the Vedic scriptures based on his own concoctions. One must actually understand the knowledge of Krishna consciousness presented in the Vedic scriptures as explained by the bona fide spiritual master. This ensures that we become free from the speculative tendencies. Actually, devotional service can always be understood through the Acharyas' instructions. It is mentioned in the Chandogya Upanishad. It is said, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. If you want to understand the imports of the Vedic scriptures, you must approach a bona fide spiritual master. That is the process. So Srila Rupa Goswami said, pure devotional service means we must give up the speculative tendencies, that is jnana contamination. So, jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam. Anushilanam, to follow the instructions. Krishnanushilanam, to follow the instructions of Krishna as he has personally given in Bhagavad Gita. Anukulyena means in a way which is favorable to Krishna. To follow Krishna's instructions the way Krishna tells us to follow. This is called pure devotional service. So, to conclude, what is the definition of bhakti as given by Rupa Goswami? Rupa Goswami says, first of all, anyabhilashita shunyam, to give up all kinds of desires which are against pleasing Krishna, and then jnana karmadi anavritam, to become free from the speculative tendencies and fruitive mentalities, and Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, in a favorable way, following the instructions of Krishna. In this way, this is called Bhakti Uttama. This is the best kind of devotional service. So this scientific definition of bhakti was given by Srila Rupa Goswami. And then many a times we think that devotional service or Krishna consciousness or spirituality is not a very well thought, chalked out route. Sometimes people think, okay, if you know that you have advanced in spirituality, you will know it for yourself. You will, there are no such standards, there are no such things like that. But actually, if you read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the summary study of this book is very nicely presented by Srila Prabhupada as nectar of devotion. So in this book, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that just like when you go to a chemistry laboratory and perform an experiment one after the other, step by step, if you perform an experiment, you will see, okay, let's say for example, you are doing a titration experiment, acid versus base, and you started the titration, you have added an indicator, color indicator like phenolphthalein or something, or litmus paper in the beaker containing the liquid, and then you start titrating the acid versus base, and then you will see at some point of time there is a color change, and that is where you come to know that neutralization reaction has taken place. That means there is a proper stage to understand whether this reaction which you expected has happened or not. Now similarly, in Krishna consciousness also, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that there are steps, step-by-step progress that we can make towards the ultimate goal of devotional service. The ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness is to become a lover of Krishna. All of us are actually lovers of Krishna, but right now, because of the lust which has overcome our consciousness, we have forgotten this loving tendency to Krishna. But Srila Rupa Goswami said, step by step you can revive your love for Krishna. So Rupa Goswami said the first step is Adav Shraddha. First you must have faith. You must have some faith about the spiritual understanding. You must have faith about Krishna. And then with this faith, Sadhu Sangha is the second step. You must approach devotees of the Lord and associate with them. When you associate with devotees, you hear about Krishna. And then the third step is Bhajana Kriya, becoming engaged in devotional service to the Lord. That is Bhajana Kriya. And when we engage nicely in devotional service, beginning with chanting and hearing about the Lord, then we come to the next stage called Anartha Nivritti. We become free from the unwanted habits and drives that we have. So you can see, you can verify yourself. When you're going step by step, you can actually verify. Okay, I am now in Sadhu Sangha stage. Okay, now I'll engage in Bhajana Kriya. I will chant the holy names. And when I engage in Bhajana Kriya for a period of time under the guidance of devotees, I will come to this Anartha Nivritti stage where I can become free. I can see myself that I am becoming free from these unwanted habits and drives. And then we come to the fifth stage called Nishtha. We become firmly convinced about Krishna. We become convinced about the scriptural injunctions, about the reality of spiritual existence. We come to this Nishtha stage. Then we develop a taste, ruchi, for devotional service, for chanting the holy names. And then we come to the stage of Asakti. We become attached to Krishna. And then emotions intensify. We come to the stage of Bhava. And then finally this Bhava will fructify to the stage of Prema, or pure love of Krishna. So Rupa Goswami in this way has very nicely explained step by step how we can actually progress towards the goal of life, that is to attain pure love of Krishna by the process of devotional service. That is the wonder, that is the speciality of Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he is an expert in explaining the rasas. What is this rasa? Rasa means the devotional mellows that Krishna exchanges with his devotees. It is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami that there are 5 principal rasas and 7 secondary rasas. And because he has explained very nicely these rasas in his book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is also called the Rasacharya, one who is expert in experiencing and in explaining the devotional mellows in Krishna, with Krishna consciousness. So the 5 kinds of rasas, the primary rasas that we all can experience with Krishna, we can exchange with Krishna, are, first one is called Shanta rasa, the stage of neutrality, and then Dasya rasa, and then we have Sakhya rasa, and then Vatsalya rasa, and then we have Madhurya rasa. These are the 5 different rasas that Rupa Goswami explains with lot of details and examples of devotees. Like for example, Shanta rasa is experienced by the cows of Vrindavan. The mood that Krishna exchanges with the cows of Vrindavan, the grass in Vrindavan, that is called Shanta rasa. And then we have the next one after Shanta rasa is Dasya rasa. Dasya rasa, for example, Hanuman exchanged this Dasya rasa with Lord Ramachandra, the mood of servitude. And then we have the third rasa, which is Sakhya rasa. Krishna exchanges this with Arjuna and Sudama and his friends in Vrindavan. So there is an intimate fraternal relationship that Krishna exchanges with his devotees. In this, where Krishna comes to the level of his devotees as equals and they exchange friendly behavior, friendly dealings. And then there is Vatsalya rasa, where Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, they exchange this with Krishna. Parental affection that they display towards Krishna. And then Rupa Goswami explains the highest kind of rasa, that is Madhurya rasa. The gopis of Vrindavan and the queens of Dwaraka exchange with Krishna. In this way, very elaborately, in a scientific manner, Rupa Goswami explains the different rasas that Krishna exchanges with his devotees. So all these Rupa Goswami compiled on the direct order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent about 10 days explaining all these details, intricacies. He gave the synopsis of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to Rupa Goswami and then asked him to elaborate on all these things. And also in Jagannath Puri for about 10 months, Rupa Goswami stayed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he explained all of these things, and these things were very nicely explained in his books. On the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami also wrote many other books. He actually wrote 2 very special dramas. The first drama, it is about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and he named it as Vidagdha Madhava. So when Rupa Goswami was thinking about writing this drama, first initially he thought the entire pastimes of Krishna, that is in Vrindavan, in Dwaraka, everything he will write in one drama. But then one night in Rupa Goswami's dream, a wonderful, an effulgent personality, a woman appeared in his dream and said, actually it will be better if you actually write 2 separate dramas. One describing the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan and the other describing Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka. So this person was none other than Satyabhama herself, the consort of Lord Krishna. So Rupa Goswami understood, okay, there are differences in Krishna's dealings in Vrindavan and Krishna's dealings in Dwaraka. Therefore, I should not mix this and create a mixture of rasas which is not very palatable. Therefore, he wrote 2 separate dramas. The first one, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, he called it as Vidagdha Madhava. And the second drama, which Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka, he called it as Lalita Madhava. And it is said, by seeing these dramas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take great pleasure in reading these dramas about Krishna, and he would discuss about this with his devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with Rupa Goswami. So one of the symptoms of progress in devotional service is when the spiritual master, when our spiritual authorities are happy with us, with our intentions, with our devotional service, when they are happy, we should know that we are actually making progress in Krishna consciousness. And we can see this in the life of Rupa Goswami. There is another interesting episode in Rupa Goswami's life. As I said, Rupa Goswami would actually spend a lot of time sitting and contemplating on Krishna, his pastimes, and he would write these books. And Rupa Goswami personally ensured that a temple will be constructed for Lord Krishna. So we have the Radha Govindji temple in Vrindavan. When we go, we can see this Radha Govindji temple. It was a 7-storied building which was made of sandstone, which was sanctioned by Akbar himself to construct this temple. So Of course, later on, due to the tyrannical attacks of Aurangzeb, this temple was actually destroyed. But now we can see 3 to 4 stories of this building is still remaining for us to go and see. So Rupa Goswami would actually sit down and he would actually always contemplate on Krishna. It so happened one day that Rupa Goswami got this desire that it will be very nice if I cook nice, delicious, sweet rice and offer to Govindji, and then offer that prasadam to my elder brother Sanatana Goswami. So when he was thinking in this way, when he was contemplating, all of a sudden a young girl appeared in front of him and he said, my dear Babaji, I am just coming from a neighboring village from here. I have brought some very nice milk and sugar and sweet and rice and all of these things. Please prepare nice sweet rice and offer to the deity. So she said like this and she went away giving all these items. So Rupa Goswami was very happy. Oh, just now I was thinking about making sweet rice and the Lord has reciprocated in this way. He was very happy. And then he started preparing the sweet rice. He offered this to Govindaji, his worshipable deity. And then he called his elder brother Sanatana Goswami and wanted to feed this prasadam, sweet rice prasadam to him. So when Sanatana Goswami ate a few morsels of the sweet rice, he could understand there was an ecstasy that he was feeling. He could understand this is not an ordinary sweet rice. Then he asked Rupa Goswami, where did you get all these ingredients to prepare this sweet rice? And then Rupa Goswami said, there was a young girl from a neighboring village who came and delivered all these items to me. And then Sanatana Goswami said, can you describe the features of this girl? And Rupa Goswami started describing the features of this girl. And then Sanatana Goswami could understand from these descriptions that that young girl was none other than Srimati Radharani herself. So Srimati Radharani herself brought all these ingredients and delivered to Rupa Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami was actually feeling very bad. He said, we are devotees of Radha Krishna. We are supposed to please Radha Krishna by our service. We are supposed to give them our service. It is not good to receive service from them. So we can see from this pastime how much Rupa Goswami was so dear to Radharani that Radharani herself understood the desire of Rupa Goswami and presented these gifts, these items to prepare sweet rice. So one of the most important striking things about Rupa Goswami and all the Goswamis of Vrindavan is that they never claimed that we have seen Radha Krishna. No. They always were in the mood of separation. When will that day come? When will I be able to see Radha Krishna face to face? When I will be able to relish the chanting of the Lord's names? These were the moods. So from this Rupa Goswami's pastimes, from his glories, we must understand it's very important for us to follow in the footsteps of the spiritual master. His instructions very diligently we must follow. Just like Rupa Goswami followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions very diligently. And then we also understand how the science of devotional service is, this is a science. It is a very scientific process. Step by step when you follow, you will actually achieve the perfection of love of Godhead. And then Rupa Goswami is Abhideya Acharya. He helps us to follow the process of devotional service. So from all these things, we must understand the mood of Rupa Goswami is that he wrote all these books to actually make us understand the science of Krishna consciousness. When we visit Vrindavan, we visit Jiva Goswami's Radha Damodar temple. In the courtyard of Radha Damodar temple, we shall see the Samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami. That is the place where all the Goswamis would assemble and they would discuss how to spread this Krishna consciousness everywhere. And that is the place where Srila Prabhupada's room was there, and Srila Prabhupada would actually see through his window and he would always pray. He would always offer prayers to Rupa Goswami to bless him so that he can also propagate this message of Krishna consciousness. So I recommend you to read these two very special books that Srila Prabhupada has translated into English. That is Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. In this book, very nicely Rupa Goswami explains, it's a very small book, Nectar of Instructions, where Rupa Goswami elaborates the basic principles of devotional service, what should be our behavior and all these things. And then this nectar of devotion, which is a translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which talks about the science of devotional service. So when we go to Rupa Goswami's Samadhi in Radha Damodar temple, we should pray to Rupa Goswami. Just like you were able to understand the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and act according to his wishes and please him, please also bless me, my dear Rupa Goswami, that I can understand the meaning, I can understand the mood of my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada and conduct myself and practice Krishna consciousness according to his desire. So this is what we can pray, and we should pray to Rupa Goswami. So with this we come to the end of today's episode, and I hope all of you are every day hearing these glories of the Acharyas. It will help us to prepare our consciousness to enter Vrindavan Dham. So I would give you a small activity today. What you should do is, after hearing this episode, I want you to post in the comments section, in the comments, I want you to post what was the most interesting instruction from Rupa Goswami's life that struck you today from what we discussed. What is the most striking point about Rupa Goswami and his life? So please post in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. I shall be back again in the next episode with another Acharya, his glories and life. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.